Global. I'm a partner and CTO at a company called Studio Now, back in the States. It's a Nashville-based company. The tech side is in San Francisco, so I'm building that group up there. So today we have a couple of guys that are going to sit and talk with me for a while about wearable technologies. I'm going to do a real quick introduction to both of them, and then they can explain themselves going forward. Robert Scoble is the startup liaison for Rackspace. World traveler and technology seeker outer, I think it's probably the good term. And then Mr. Jin here, Alex Jin, runs Wearables for LG Electronics. So I'm going to let you guys go in either order and fill in the blanks a little bit.
We just saw the Apple Watch come out. I think you have a LG watch on your wrist?
I do. Yep.
Somebody backstage had a Samsung. There's something happening in the wearable space, right? The computers are getting smaller, the sensors are getting more interesting, and the costs are coming down. The last thing we need to worry about is batteries.
Yeah, it's true for all of these things, actually.
Hello?
Oops, got a dead mic.
Hello? Hello, I'm Alex Jin from LG Electronics. I'm the product manager, and at this time, I'm in charge of wearable devices. Thank you.
So, wearable technologies is the current marketing name for something that's been around for a really, really long time. If you go back to the 1600s, there were Chinese dynasties that had abacuses on rings. If you pull a little forward in time, in the 1980s, there were calculators on watches. There's a guy named Richard Warwick or Robert Warwick that in the early 2000s started something called Project Cyborg, where he experimented on his wife and basically tied a necklace into her nervous system, and it would essentially do a big mood ring thing. But recently, wearables have popped into the common consciousness in the United States and around the world. And I'd like to ask you guys why. Like, what just happened, do you think?
The thing that happened was the cell phone revolution has gotten 1 billion of these being made every year or so. And that has reduced, caused R&D to reduce the chips, the sensors, the processors, the memory, the camera, the display. And now, because of that reduction in size, it's making new things like this watch possible.
Do you agree?
Yeah, there are several aspects of the wearable devices emerging. First, technology is maturing, right? And from the business side, the smartphone market is getting saturated. So some companies pushing this market, including many manufacturers. So from the technology side and business side, and of course, users are expecting more than smartphone. So that's the main reason we are working on the wearable devices.
When I go around and I usually talk to startups. So this is a startup. It came from the Fossil Watch company.
Who is that? Is that Fossil?
This is Meta.
That's Meta. That's the Meta watch. I've never seen one.
Yeah. And, but it came out of the Fossil Watch company. And the executive who built this worked at Fossil, which is one of the largest watch companies. And he started investing in this because he saw that it was now possible to put a really high-quality screen and sensors into a small form factor and get information from your phone. This was not possible 10 years ago because we didn't have a phone in our pocket that was bringing us Twitter and Facebook and WeChat and all the fun things that are on the phone. Now this has evolved with Bluetooth to get data back and forth. So if you send me a message on Facebook, it shows up here, right?
And then something else seemed to have happened, right? is a market acceptance that is occurring. You know, you're famous for a lot of things, but Google Glass recently, you were one of the early proponents of Google Glass. I've got one, Robert's got one, I'm not sure if Alex has one or not, but it's, for those that, you must all be aware of it, but if you're not aware of it, it's a device that you wear on your face that presents a notification first view of Google's ecosystem to your right eyeball. And it works fairly well, and in San Francisco, you can get the crap beaten out of you for wearing it. You know, there's some line that gets drawn between something hanging on your face and something hanging on your wrist or some other part of your body.
We should talk about on-face wearables because there are some really key places that's going to matter. Oakley, for instance, makes a ski goggle with a
HUD, yeah.
a HUD. It's from Recon Instruments. It makes the HUD, and it shows you where on the mountain you are, where your kids are, which is really cool, how fast you're going. If you jump off a jump, the sensor inside knows your hang time or your jump time, and it shows a few other things. Nobody cares about the social cost of this in the ski goggle because
You've already got it on.
you already got it on,
Yeah.
and I can't see that you have a computer in your ski goggle. It's hidden inside the ski goggle, right? There's a motorcycle helmet from Scoble. Same thing. It has a little display here and a camera in the back, so you can see who's behind you without looking at a mirror. It's a safety thing. I find it very fascinating, and my friends who ride motorcycles say it's really a neat helmet. It can also use services from like Waze to show you information up ahead. So if there's a ladder in the road, you know, Waze already on my phone warns me that because somebody reports there's an object in the road. And in the helmet, it can tell you that. Right?
That's very cool. Yeah, my brother and everybody I know that drives a motorcycle wants one of these things. So they've all put in their requests on various Amazon lists for it. So Alex, from where you're sitting, you know, I don't want to turn this into an LG session, but the acceptance of the LG Android Wear Watch that you guys just put out recently, and then you put out a round version. Can you talk a little bit without violating any sort of confidence as to how that's doing and what's going on?
Actually, I don't want to be representing as electronics, but asking how Android Wear is works in market. You know, we are just launched first generation of Android Wear, so we are still pioneering the market. So at this time, we are learning how the end users are reacting to the product. So
Do you get a lot of feedback? Do people respond to you?
Yes, we are getting a lot of feedback. But so from the business side, I made the G Watch, but it's not meet my expectation, not yet. But we are still working on that to find.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens when the market starts to get saturated by Apple. And I don't want to spend the whole time on wristwatches, but I think Apple is worth a note here. So they just released the Apple Watch, which my brain continually maps to iWatch, but they called it something different. But it's interesting seeing what Android is doing versus what Apple is doing. Android has taken the path of a notification-first operating system. The apps are there, but they're buried. Apple's taken the other path, where it's an application-first operating system, and notifications are there, but you have to kind of get to them. So do you guys have any sort of feeling what path is better? Both, neither?
I predict the app world is going to be really important, particularly as more sensors come on the market. I visited an R&D lab in Ireland, and they're making little silicon-based needles that go underneath your skin so they can tell blood glucose levels and other things. At SRI, where Siri was invented and the internet was invented, they're working on a sensor to tell that you have pancreatic cancer long before a symptom shows up by these little needles. there's a startup in San Francisco that is working on a way to tell that you're going to have a heart attack in the next 24 hours. So these apps are going to look at this data coming off of the sensors. By the way, the sensor knows that I'm moving my hand right now, right? And Facebook bought a company called Moves, which already knows whether you're walking, running, driving, or biking by the sensors on your phone. And add the sensors on a watch or a sensor on your shirt, because I've seen shirts that have sensors in them now. Mm-hmm. They are going to tell you a lot about your body and about your environment. And therefore, developers are going to invent new kinds of applications that are going to show you new kinds of things based on the sensors on your body.
So let's talk about that for just a second. In my notes, later on in the conversation, I was going to talk about this, but might as well do it now. So in order to get accurate health data, you do need invasive technologies. You need needles under the skin. You need something that is wired to a different part of your body than you might be wearing jewelry on. There's social issues with that, right? I mean, what do you guys predict would be the market acceptance of something like that, even if it was capable of predicting pancreatic cancer or measuring a heart attack? Or
my wife bought a Fitbit for her wrist, and she lost 40 pounds. Now it's measuring her sleep. In the future, it's going to measure other things. The acceptance will show up as soon as there is utility. If there's no utility, people will stay on the conservative side. But the minute you show me a device that could save my life, I'm in. I don't care about the privacy concerns. I want to know that I'm having a heart attack so I can get to the hospital in time and not have a bad outcome that day.
General public or people who have niche needs, like people with heart conditions and people?
Everybody has a heart condition. And if it saves your life, you're going to tell all your friends, my God, this thing saved my life, right? And if it makes your outcome better, my friend had a quad heart bypass. He almost didn't get to the hospital in time. If he had gotten to the hospital a day earlier, he might not have needed that kind of surgery. Maybe he would have had a less impactful surgery. So as word gets around that a device does something, people will buy it.
Alex?
Healthcare aspect is very important with the wearable devices. As Robert mentioned, the utility is very good with healthcare. So when wearable devices can protect or prevent some disease, such as heart attack or something like that, it will be good. But from the industry side, there are a lot of regulations, and it's not going to be just happen right now.
Well, it is. If you're a football player in the NFL, they're now asking you to wear a sensor in the back of your helmet because they have a concussion problem.
Sure.
If you hit your head, you have a concussion. The sensor tells you that. But the new sensor also shows how fast you're running, the impact of a hit, and that data is going to be streamed to TV in live time.
So you can see the players.
And so we're going to see many, many vertical markets like this, including this one, this watch. Maybe you don't like this watch. Maybe you like the LG one better or the Apple one better. This is a platform that now seniors are wearing with a special software on here to show things like you need to take your medicine right now. You need to go for a walk. It helps you live your life, and the doctor is going to force you to wear it because you're not taking your medicine. He's going to make sure you wear it, and this thing will know you're wearing it because there's an accelerometer in here, right? If you leave it on the desk, it's going to know that.
So Alex mentioned the R word, and if you guys saw the FinTech session beforehand, they mentioned the R word. So there was a story told about the starting of Square, where the actual technology, including the hardware, got built in under a month, and the regulatory commissions didn't let them put it into market for about 18 months. So when you start doing things that are invasive, like the football helmet's a different case, I think, because it's a contained group of people. But if you start releasing something into the marketplace that does something like put needles in your arms or has some sort of measurement, I mean, what do you think the regulation impact is going to be?
It's going to vary from country to country. In the United States, we have the FDA, and they are going to regulate these as medical devices. And you're going to have, if you're a startup building a new kind of app, you're going to have to get that approved. And it'll cost $1 million, $2 million, $5 million to do that, and it'll take time. For these smaller niche markets where it's not telling you medical information, it's just gathering data and maybe showing you something, you're going to see it much sooner.
Yeah, and then I'm assuming the data will also require some sort of a regulatory commission.
Yeah.
I mean, there's...
There's a shirt, by the way, from OM Signal, Signal, that has sensors in the shirt, and athletes are wearing these to study.
The body, it fits tightly across the body?
It's a shirt with sensors built into the fabric, and it's quite innovative. It's very interesting. And athletes are wearing this to study their performance and see if they can push themselves a little harder. And it already is showing up in Olympic athletes are wearing these kinds of sensors on their arms, in their shirt. Nike has sensors in shoes coming out, and I hear a rumor that Apple's working on some shoes with sensors, and Tim Cook is on Nike's board as well. So we're going to soon see things that are studying the impact of running with sensors, and the Apple one is showing a heart rate. The shirt shows breathing, right?
So this is a good segue into convergence and consolidation. I don't know about you guys, but I'm festooned with devices as I'm sitting here. I've got the LG watch on my wrist. I've got the Fitbit on my other wrist. I'm wearing a device that is measuring my posture, which is really, really annoying me. Every time I slouch, it starts to vibrate. But none of these things know about the other one. The reason I keep wearing the Fitbit instead of the Android Wear watches exclusively is I like Fitbit's data gathering, and I like their ability to give me the data back, and I can screw around with it myself. That's not possible currently on Android Wear, and I don't know if it's going to be possible on Apple or not. So, and IoT, by the way, Internet of Things is experiencing the same problem. There's a bunch of devices around your house. None of them know about the other ones, and they interact sometimes in very weird ways. So I can anticipate this being a similar situation. Do you guys anticipate a time where things get consolidated to a single device or ecosystem?
Just this morning, Apple shipped iOS 8. And in iOS 8, there is now a health app. All of these devices are going to put their data into that health app, and that's going to be the start of the consolidation. It will take a year or two, maybe 3, for it to really be beautiful, but this is the beginning, and I'm sure LG and Samsung are working on the same kinds of data gathering devices that'll show the consumer what their shirt is doing, what their shoe is doing, what their watch is doing, what their scale is doing, right?
Yeah, Samsung just bought SmartThings for the Internet of Things space for that very reason, actually.
Platform side, the all-in-one function is good. So as mentioned, iOS will provide many functions such as Hasket or something like that. But from the point of physical device, it's a little bit different from that point, because it has best fit for each function. For sports, it has some more rugged finish, and for fashion item, it should be more fashionable. So physical device can be fragmented according to the function, but platform side, yes, it should handle every case.
So you're advocate. You think what's going to happen is there'll be specialty devices, but they're just going to talk on the back end. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Cool. Okay, and then data itself. It goes back to the regulation question. If we start collecting data on people, their heart rates and physical well-being, you start getting into issues very quickly with things in the United States, like insurance companies. Like insurance companies want that data to find out if they should be charging you more money. And that it's going to bump right up against the privacy wall. I mean, do you guys anticipate any of this, or do you think it's just nothing?
I look at it. I look at it the other way. Take the heart attack. If I have to cut you open in surgery to save your
please don't do
life,
that.
well, I might. Somebody might have to do that someday and cut you open. That's a multi-$100,000 surgery. If I can get you to the hospital a day earlier and reduce the cost of that by, let's say, $50,000, I will give you some of that. I'll say, wear the watch, and if you reduce your cost of going to the hospital, I will give you a benefit. I'll give you a piece of the pie that you saved me. So
Take $20 off your insurance bill because you're wearing whatever.
Yeah. Now, on the other side, if I don't exercise, it will charge me. It'll say, hey, you didn't go for a walk today. You're costing money. I worked at Microsoft, and at Microsoft, the employees are paying for their own health care. Insurance is paid by the employees. It's given to them, but there's the company is paying for the health care, right?
The United States is very strange for this stuff, but
right. So if I can reduce the cost of, or if I can increase the health of an employee over 90,000 people, I save everybody money, and I can give that back to you. So I'm going to play little games with watches to get you to exercise more, to eat healthier, to do things in your life. And yeah, you're going to be charged. Maybe not charged money, but points, gaming. Last night I just saw from SparkLabs, there's a new game to water a little plant. And if you win the game, they actually go and plant a tree. It's really cool. We're going to play games like that with our watches all day long because we're going to be forced to by our employer. Here's another way to look at it. The President of the United States, his pilots are wearing a sleep sensor on their arm, and it can tell whether they've had enough sleep to fly the President in the plane. They are forced to wear this. It's not optional. But it tells it tells the pilot that he's had enough sleep. If I'm the president, I don't want a guy flying me around who has not had enough sleep, or who is still drunk from the night before. Right? I want sensors on that guy.
right now my dogs pee on the carpet if I don't walk, so that's my sensor.
The privacy issues, I guess, is about the problem of the policy. So if the utility is much more valuable than privacy, I think privacy is not so big problem.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to hear. Yeah, it's similar to, in the United States, there's a device called OnStar that sits in your car, and if you have an OnStar, you get a discount on your automobile insurance because they can come to you faster or figure out if you're speeding or do that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Very cool. And then the whole idea of public acceptance. So you talked about wearables on your face that were context specific, right? So football and skiing. And do you think there's ever going to be a situation where it's okay in public to wear a Google Glass-like device?
There's a company called Kopin, Kopin. They make a screen that is already half the size of the Google Glass one, and they have it built right into the sunglass frame. You can't tell that I'm wearing a future glass. So the public acceptance is going to show up within 5 years because you will not tell that I'm wearing one in my glass.
Acceptance through obscurity, basically.
Yeah. And people, if there's utility, if it's showing me data that I need to live my life better, I'm going to buy one of these. So it's two parts. It's going to disappear into our glass and maybe even into our contact lens, right? We've already seen Google is developing contact lens to tell whether you have certain diseases and then put information on your on your lens of your eye. So in 10 years, this problem goes away.
I know what your opinions used to be on Google Glass. I don't know what they are currently. I find the utility of Google Glass to be really amazingly well. I mean, it's great. I don't wear it much anymore because I am actually worried in San Francisco to walk around town wearing it. But having that information presented to you Terminator style to your eye is pretty intense.
Yeah. It's the first consumer gadget that knows where you're aimed.
Yeah, that's actually the most interesting thing about it is if you ask for directions to a coffee shop and you turn the wrong way, it kind of screams at you a little bit and points you back.
Yeah.
Yeah. At this time, the product design is not good enough, but the final goal of the wearable technology is making the wearable device invisible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So technology will drive that way.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's talk about the future. Now what?
Well, he made a good point. You have a device on your back that tells you to sit up straight, right?
Yes, it's irritating me right now.
So it's invisible. I didn't know you were wearing that, right? And a lot of these new wearable devices are going to do things for you without being on you, not visible. The shirt that my friend has as an athlete, you can't tell that it has sensors in it, right? But it can be beeping at him or doing something for him, and I can't tell that he's wearing it, right?
What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with it. It's a good point.
What about distraction?
Restriction?
Distractions.
Distraction.
So the thing I'm wearing on my chest, for instance, that's telling me to sit up straight, occasionally you'll hear me go, and that's because it's vibrating. I sort of get thrown for a loop. I mean, do you think that is problems going forward?
Yes, and it leads to design of product. The user experience designer is going to have to design it to be appropriate and beep when it actually is needed, or give you some feedback that you like.
So that leads to something interesting because we evolved as a species that has 5 senses, and those senses are essentially analog, and they were designed for us to socialize and move through our environment. And over the course of the evolutionary period that evolved to us sitting on a stage right now, we're taking our input for granted. Yeah. So to have a digital device displaying digital information into your analog ecosystem, I mean, how do you anticipate that working going forward?
Here's when I got this watch a couple of weeks ago, I had Twitter coming to the watch, and I had Facebook coming to the watch, and I had my email coming to the watch, and I had my phone call coming to the watch.
Annoying, isn't it?
It's really annoying because it vibrates, right? And I turned all that stuff off except for Messenger, SMS, and phone calls. Because
things you care about, basically.
When a phone call comes, I care about Facebook, but not all Facebook. And the people who are building Facebook and Twitter and Apple stuff, the really interesting work being done now is in machine learning. It should not beep every message. It should beep only when an important message comes in. And if it can get to that place, and I think it will in the next 2 to 3 years, then it has better utility, people like it, and people will use it more. Right now, the Pebble watch and these watches are not contextual. They are showing you every message, and that's not appropriate all the time. Right now, we're in front of an audience. There should not be any message on my phone or on my watch or on my glass that's not appropriate for this time in our lives, right? If there is a message, though, that would make our performance up here more interesting, then show me that, right? But that requires a machine learning system that really understands our context, and we are not even close to being good enough yet.
Yeah, I was struggling to remember the name of Warwick, the guy that did the early cyborg stuff in the 2000s, and I couldn't remember his first name. And if that had come to me because it knew that I was talking about that person, absolutely, it'd be great.
Actually, I have a question about the notification. So actually, you can catch the message or something like the call or with your phone in the pocket. And also, you got some notification from your smartwatch.
Yeah.
So it's overlapping, and is it really necessary?
Yeah, I love notifications, right, on my watch, on my phone, but I don't need to see them right now. there might be one that somebody might be sitting in the audience and wants us to answer a question, right? And I want to see that one on my watch.
I was trying to think of a way before we got up here of having questions come to my watch. And Twitter would have been the obvious way to do it, but I have no way to tell the difference between a question coming from you on a Twitter feed and some guy I know back in San Francisco sending me a tweet. So I got the 5-minute warning from this dude here,
Yeah.
which means that you guys have 5 minutes to prognosticate. So we're going to start with Alex. Like, where do you think this is all going? 20 years from now?
From now, 10 years later. Yes, I just mentioned I think wearable should be invisible and it should be very personalized and it also should be very fashionable. So I guess the wearable industry will be very micro-fragmented industry. So I think the huge manufacturer like LG or Samsung, better than Samsung or LG, I think the small company like startup can make more opportunity in that area. I think so.
Yeah. Let's talk through a use case. I went to Mercedes-Benz, the R&D lab in Silicon Valley, and they are building a contextual car. They're going to put sensors, 3D sensors, to watch your face, understand who you are, understand if your kids are in the car, right? Because if I say pizza to the car, and my kids are in the car, it means a certain choice is going to happen. If you're in the car and you're an executive and we say pizza, it means something different than when the kids are in the car,
Yes,
right?
it does.
So to me, the car is the biggest wearable that we're going to have, and there's going to be a lot of innovation in the car. Then you park the car and you walk into your house. I already have a drop cam that takes a picture of everybody going into my house and it warns me on my phone. I get a notification on my phone every time somebody goes by my front door. You walk into the front door, I have a Nest thermostat that has a sensor and is watching behavior. There's a Nest smoke detector. There's all my lights are now being turned into LED lights with the internet, so I can change the color of the lights from my phone, right? I have a Fitbit scale. When I step on it, it reports to Fitbit. The whole world is going to study us and is going to serve us as we walk around, and there's going to be a little display in my glass that's going to tell me all sorts of stuff just by living my life.
Which brings up my last question, which I didn't get time to answer, but the distinction between wearables and Internet of Things disappears. Is that correct, I think? Across the board?
Yes, I imagine that wearable and IoT will be merged to make synergy. Yeah, so from our bodies, wearable collect data and understand our context, and Internet of Things will make the utility of the data. Yeah.
So I could talk about this for another 9 hours, but I'm going to get yelled at. So we're going to go. Any questions from the audience? Aha. There's a mic. I think, is there a mic coming? Guess not. Yell. Yay, Robert, go. The part of Mike Dude today is being played by Robert Scoble. You are good at this. Look at that.
Thank you. And I am a Handong University student, and my name is Juchan Che. So I'm not good at English, so excuse that.
I'm a native English speaker, and my English is horrible. So keep
Okay, thank you. So I wonder that we have already many devices of digital device. Like I have an iPhone and iPad, but the problem is a battery. So wearable devices are must need using time, like a cell phone or like iPad. So we must have multi-tap to charge all of our wearable device. So
yeah, the more small devices I get,
Yes.
the bigger my knapsack gets.
Yes,
Because
so-
I have to carry all this crap around. And I'll let these guys talk, but yeah, you hit it on the head. There's not enough going on in battery technologies, I don't think.
Is it possible?
Look, Robert wants to talk.
Can I answer the question?
Please go for
Okay,
it.
okay. So there are three key technical hurdles for wearable. The first thing is display, battery, and input interface. It's really difficult to use wearable device when compared to the smartphone. So especially with battery life, we are working on many different form of the battery. So kind of the line battery or something like that, or flexible battery. So technology will break through that limitation.
Yeah, I'm carrying a battery, right? Broadcom showed me wireless charging at the consumer.
Over-the-air wireless charging.
Right. You could have a device underneath the table, and it can charge this device on top of the table, right? So it's sending power through the table to the device, because it actually has a bunch of sensors to study where the device is, and it throws the power to the device. That's one innovation. The other innovation, in Israel, there's a company that does quick charging, and they found a way to make a battery that charges in 30 seconds. So maybe you just hold your watch for 30 seconds next to one of these pads, and it'll charge it, right? And then we go back out and play,
I
right?
love that.
Yeah, right.
That makes sense.
There are a lot of solutions we are working on.
Yeah, so there is innovation. Even if the battery doesn't get more dense, doesn't get more power, there's ways to charge it faster. There's ways to make it flexible so it could be in the fabric itself and let us wear more batteries that plug into things. It's all coming, right?
Any time for any more questions, or we're up front?
Yeah.
Yay, mic guy.
So much. Thanks so much. My name is Sarah. I'm one of the portfolio from SparkLabs. I have a question related to mobile health. So we have wearables for pregnant, for baby, and for seniors to to monitor their blood pressure, their temperature. And I want to ask all of you, the three of you, what is your the outlook for mobile health, like related wearables? Thanks very much.
The wearable as a mobile healthcare is one big the key area, I believe that. But we should handle the area with very clever strategy, because there is some strict regulation, and people want some utility like the monitoring your health. So if he address this as a healthcare business, is taking so many times and money to get approval from our government. So we should address that the people's needs as a utility, and we have to provide some casual application at this time. I think so, yeah.
There's a lot you can do without needing FDA approval. There's a company called Lively, for instance. Lively is for people who have senior parents, and you want to make sure your senior parent is taking their medicine, going for a walk, and is not sick. In other words, is not struggling on the floor or staying in bed because they don't feel good. Lively, they put a sensor on your refrigerator door to study whether it's opening or closing. They put a sensor on the pill bottle to know that somebody touched the pill bottle. That's all it does. It's not very invasive, not a whole lot of data, and not very expensive to make. But it's already saved 2 lives, and it's only a couple $100. And you'll get a notification that your mom is not out of bed yet. And then you can call her up and go, why are you feeling okay? This has already saved 2 lives, and it's just starting.
Excellent. Anyone else? One more. Don't yell at me. One more.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, so like all these wearable technologies are really cool, but perhaps the ultimate wearable technology is by infusing nanorobots or something into our bloodstream. I mean,
That's
like
invasive.
this is ridiculously science fictiony, but
Not really.
I really want to know if there is any ongoing effort, like any ongoing realistic effort in startup like environment right
Yes.
now.
Oh, yes.
There
Yes.
is.
Hugo Herr works at the MIT Media Lab. He lost his legs in a climbing accident, and he gives a speech. It's a TED speech now, so you can look it up
See on
online.
YouTube, yeah.
And he makes robotic legs that are hooking into the nerves of your human body. And after his speech, he and I were talking backstage in the green room, and he said, in 2 years, his legs will be better than mine are. So are we going to cut off our legs to be a better runner or something like that? Probably, because how many people here have LASIK, have altered their eyes so that they can see better? We are going to do this. It's inevitable. By the way, Google is working on a pill that you swallow, and other companies are too. I saw one in the R&D lab in Ireland that you swallow, and it takes sensor readings and pictures, and it saves you a colonoscopy. So it's cheaper than a colonoscopy, and it's a lot nicer.
It's a lot more fun, yeah.
Because I don't want something, I just would rather eat the pill and wait a week and then give it to the doctor, right?
Yeah, okay. And then there's at least 3 companies I know of that are working on nanotech and pulling data from your bloodstream when you insert these nanoparticles, and they pull power from external power microwave devices on your skin. So we're done.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate
Thank you so
it.
much.